Oh, you know what? We didn't include it on the index file. That's right. If we go to the bottom here, we need to include that file. So let's copy this. And we want power components slash ng dash Facebook slash ng Facebook.js. Alright, I think that's right. So let's save that and then re-upload the index. And hopefully it's gone. Alright. And you guys probably caught that a while ago. I spelled welcome wrong. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take all this stuff I'm basically going to take from here down to here. So that whole row. And I'm going to cut that out, save this, and then we want to go over to Facebook HTML and paste that in. Alright, and we'll change this welcome, save it, and let's upload that stuff. So we want the whole Facebook folder as well as index. Alright, and if it's working correctly, that template will show because we specified it. Where did we specify it? Right here. Okay, template URL. So let's go to here and reload. Okay, the welcome is still not spelled correctly, so it might be a cache thing. Alright, there we go. So now this is all coming from the Facebook HTML file. Now in the Facebook HTML file, we need to actually do quite a bit here. Alright, first of all, we want to surround all of this with the controller. So up here with this div, with this row class, we're going to set ng controller. We're going to set that to Facebook CTRL. Alright, and let's see. Let's go to Facebook.js and continue along here. Okay, so basically we're going to start adding stuff to the controller. Now we're going to want to use a few things in here, and one is going to be the scope, which we've went over quite a few times. So we need to claim that as a dependency right here. Okay, it's going to be $scope, and then we need to pass it in as a parameter. Alright, not only that, but we need to have a Facebook object to work with. Alright, so we're going to do the same with that. This is going to be $Facebook, and we're going to pass it in here as well. Alright, and then down here, what we're going to do first is we want to set isLoggedIn to false. Alright, and that's going to be a scope value. So scope dot isLoggedIn, and that's going to be set to be false. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to create a login function. So we'll say scope dot login equals function. Alright, and the function, we're going to use the Facebook object. So Facebook dot login, and we're going to get a promise back, so we need to say .then, and then inside of then we need a function. Alright, and then what we're going to do here is we're going to call something called refresh, or a function called refresh that we're going to create. But just to make sure this is working, let's just do a console.log, and we'll say logged in. Alright, now if you've used the Facebook API before, then you've probably used something like this. fb.login. All right, if you've used this before, then all you need to know is that you're replacing this with $Facebook. All right, it acts the same way. All right, and there's a lot of documentation as well. Where are we? Let's see. If you go to the Facebook developer site, and let's see, docs. Basically, you want the Graph API right here. All right, this is gonna just basically tell you everything you need to know about the Graph API, about grabbing posts, users, basically anything. Let me actually look up the JavaScript SDK. Okay, this site here is also extremely helpful. Okay, we've already saw it. That's where we got this function for the SDK, and it shows you all right here. Okay, so this is calling the UI method, which is it can be used to share things. For instance, share a link. We could actually use the same function right here, except we'd replace this with $Facebook. All right, so if you're looking through the documentation and you see that FB, just know that you can do these functions. You just need to use that object variable. Okay, get login status. Oh, here it is right here, login. All right, so basically this is what we called, except we used $Facebook login. And with this function here, you're including your permissions in the scope here as an extra parameter. But you don't need to do that in using the module we're using, because we defined the permissions up here. All right, so you don't need to include that. All right, now let's just see if this function is going to actually call. If we go to Facebook HTML and we want the login form, so we just want to set a directive on the login button. Okay, we're going to set ng click, and that's going to be equal to login. All right, so if we save that, now since we're in the Facebook controller, when this login function is called, it's going to call this right here, scope.login. All right, which in turn should call the Facebook login, and it should give us this message, hopefully. Okay, so I'm just going to upload that. All right, so if we go ahead and reload and click login, okay, it's going to bring up a Facebook login. And if we try to log in, cookies are not enabled on your browser. Okay. Okay, I don't know why I had that set, but you need to have cookies enabled. Okay, it's still doing it. Oh, okay, we need to reload the page. Wow, it's still doing it. All right, let's totally close the browser down. Cookies required. Oh, it's still there. All right, you know what? I need to go in my settings. Okay, just make sure that you do this. Should be under privacy. Let's see. Content settings. Block sites. Keep local sites. All right, let's just say allow local data. All right, let me try that. All right, there we go. Now what's going on here is it's asking for the permissions that we set. All right, so your public profile and email address. Okay, so if we click OK, and I didn't have the yep, here we go, logged in. All right, so we're actually logged in now. Now there's no difference in our app because we haven't set any of that up yet. Okay, obviously if we're logged in, we're going to want to show our name, our picture. We're not going to want to say please log in. We're going to want a log out button. So we have a lot more to do, but we are in fact logged in. Now if I go back and I log out of Facebook, let's just try that. Okay, so log out, and then if we reload here, you can see that we now need to log in again. All right, so log in, and this time you'll notice we don't have to accept the permissions because that only happens once. All right, and since we are logged in, when we hit the login button, it just kind of vanishes. All right, and you can see that logged in down here, this ran 3 times. Okay, so it runs no matter what. So in the next video, we're going to build the refresh function, and that's going to basically check if we're logged in. It's going to we're going to use the Graph API to get our own information, so we can fill in this box, and we'll set a log out button, and we'll do a couple more things. So stick around and I'll see you in the next video.